Jai Hind, welcome to Dev Talks. This is Aadi. Imran Khan is making the headlines once again, and they are trying to get him into the dock. In no simple words, the news has been about Imran Khan for the past day and a half since they've tried to arrest him. A lot of jokes have been made कि ये एक they are not able to enter into a colony. What will they come and take Kashmir? And that's something which is very interesting as coming out from Pakistan itself. To discuss this, I have with me Lieutenant General Dushyant Singh. Sir, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, Adi. It is an unplanned, unscheduled kind of interaction because we didn't know that development will be so fast in Pakistan.
Yeah,
I think they are going ahead of the expected timelines, which we were also quite surprised with.
it's quite
So
interesting. Suddenly, मतलब, I thought it will take थोड़ा सा drag on, shag on, this, that, something here and there will happen. But then suddenly they've gone up and they've tried to do whatever they tried to do yesterday. But so the interesting factor that came out is that yeah, the public support that guy has is still very, very high. The way the public
absolutely,
came out, and even now the protests are on within Pakistan in certain areas.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
how do you look
Uh,
at the public support for him, sir?
uh, there are two, three things which we need to take into mind or context before we actually see the public support. You see, why was Pakistan current government in a hurry to put him under custody or in arrest? One of the reason is that within the next 2 months, we're going to have the assembly elections for Punjab and KPK. Now, both these places are going to polls within 60 days. They have realized that the popularity of Imran Khan is fairly high based on the responses which he was getting. So, there was a possibly early action to discredit his honesty, discredit his charisma, discredit his entire persona of being so popular in Pakistan. And what better way to do is than to implicate him in corruption cases. And
Hmm.
here I would like to share a slide with you all, which shows that how weak the case is. I'm not trying to defend Imran Khan, but what I'm trying to say is that हमाम में सब नंगे हैं. Everybody, according to a report by the Dawn, I'm now quoting Pakistani paper, right? Gifts worth 8.2 million Pakistani rupees have been kept for free since 2002. That means they have been taken away since 2002. Imran Khan came about 4 years back, right? Who are these guys? President Arif Alvi, you may not even heard the name. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, former Prime Minister Imran Khan, ex-Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, ex-President Asif Ali Zardari, late military dictator Pervez Musharraf, former Premier Shaukat Aziz, ex-PM Yusuf Raza Gilani, ex-PM Shahid Khan Abbasi, ex-PM Raja Pervez Ashraf, ex-PM Zafarullah Khan, Jamali, Senate Chairman Sadiq Sanjrani, Finance Minister Ishaq Dar, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto, Zardari, Sheikh Rashid Ahmad, Khurshid Kasuri, Abdul Hafiz Sheikh, Jahangir Tarin, Shah Mahmud Qureshi, his so-called famous foreign minister, and Ataur Rahman. Among these, now note this point, among these, former PM Shaukat Aziz topped the list by retaining as many as 700 gifts valued at over 2.7 million for himself and his wife. And this is a Pakistani government report. In this, you want to nitpick Imran Khan. Oh yes, he may have taken little more than the others, but the fact is, everybody has swindled this particular storehouse or tosha khana, as they call it, gift store, which these people get when they visit foreign countries or when foreign diplomats come to them and they hand over some gifts, etc. Imran retained about 1.2 million. The current prime minister, Shehbaz Sharif, who has not even completed a year in office, has already retained gifts worth rupees 3,70,000. And if he was given 4 years tenure, you could have imagined what would have happened. The records show that PML-N Supremo Nawaz Sharif was gifted a Mercedes-Benz car on April 20, 2008, worth rupees 4.25 million, which I believe he bought it for point zero some 63 odd million he paid and took away this gift. So there is some token payments which have been done by some of them. Most of them have not done any token payment also for buying them. Uh, Drivers, valet guys, they have also picked up the gifts from this particular so-called Toshakhana. Zardari retained a BMW 760 by paying just over rupees 4 million, while the vehicle's value was worth rupees 27.3 million. So जहां सब चोर हैं, एक चोर को पकड़ करके, what are you going to achieve? The case is prima facie very weak. Yes, he has been implicated in cases like threatening a judge, woman judge of the Pakistan court. Then he's also been implicated in some terrorism cases. So there are other cases also, and I'm sure all those cases are built on very flimsy grounds, right? So therefore he also knows that the cases do not have much merit in them. He will quote all these examples in the court and get away with it. But was that the real intention of the Pakistani government or the military, which is trying to uh, prod the current government to ensure that Imran Khan is defanged? Because we all know that Asif Munir and Imran Khan do not enjoy a very good relationship. But Asif Munir, as of now, does not want to be seen as some kind of a person who is trying to orchestrate the internal developments of Pakistan, which, by all means, from 1947 onwards, it's the lowest. It's the nadir of internal political situation as far as Pakistan is concerned. Their economy is at the bottom. Their political situation is nothing to really be proud of. Their international standing has gone down so badly. I think they are slowly and slowly moving into a precipice unless there is some stabilization done by powers that be, or the Pakistan army finally steps in and puts all this activities which are taking place into some kind of a thanda basta and steady the ship of Pakistan. I think that's my initial take on this particular incident.
It's quite shocking, sir. Actually, when you just listen to that list, it's quite shocking. But
Absolutely.
main thing I want to ask you is that the whole operation yesterday, it seemed like, I mean, it was a drama. Are you trying to tell me that they are so weak that they could not push back the public in a place like Pakistan and pick up a guy? Or was this basically messaging, sir?
I think this is purely uh, as I have been discussing informally also with people, that in today's environment, when a particular person has reached a level of popularity where any action which the state takes, may lead to boomeranging. So while they were intending to as per my research and what I have read in the Pakistani papers, etc., they only wanted to ensure that he does not come out during the assembly elections and influence it with his popularity. So, two things which they wanted to do was put him under arrest so that his movement becomes restricted, and second thing which they wanted to do was implicate him in corruption charges, terrorism charges, and the so-called famous Toshakhana charges, right? If you do this, somewhere a charisma of a person takes a hit. So as of now, I think it was an action done to ensure this. However, it did not turn out in that manner. And why? It is because Imran Khan played his cards very well. I think he already had the information that he's going to be arrested sooner or later. He had his supporters very, very readily available to stand by and protest against any action which these people would take. In fact, the Pakistani police and the Rangers have said that he used women and children as shield to ensure that they don't get they are not able to arrest him. And let me tell you, when women etc. come in front of security forces, it becomes very difficult to actually run through or use the hard handle and go and get collect them. And the army, mind you, has still not shown his hands. Army still is keeping itself behind the scene. If the army was there, possibly yes, special forces would have gone in through some route or the other and got him across. What he did was, when he broadcasted to the nation and to the international media, in fact, he broadcasted to Al Jazeera also, he had all the fired bullets in front of him.
Hmm.
He had the shell cases of smoke discharges, etc. And then he was giving this interview, and in that he said, "I know they are out to kill me, but I appeal to my followers that do not get disheartened if I get killed. You carry on the fight without me and ensure that these people do not come to power." Now, this was showing an intent to become a martyr. Immediately when he said this, the entire game changed. Creating a martyr is the worst thing which a state can do, and that was one of the major reasons why they had to withdraw. Of course, they gave the example that there is a Super Pakistan Super League which is being played, cricket Super League which is being played in Pakistan, and it has taken place after the. You remember the Sri Lankan team was attacked by some terrorists in 2009. Since then, there was no cricket match, international cricket match, which was played in Pakistan. So this was a major change which has happened in Pakistan, where international players have come and they are playing in the Pakistan Super League cricket. So therefore, that was given as a reason to say that we are withdrawing and that we will continue with our operation on the 19th of March. But the real fact is that Imran Khan played his cards in a manner that he projected that I might be martyred. He got a status of a martyr without being martyred, and the way things were happening, it kind of was. He said, "I have been under threat. The establishment has warned me that my life is under threat. I have been attacked in the past in a rally. So therefore, uh, and I'm giving a guarantee to the court that I'll appear on Saturday. I am not a terrorist. I have given a guarantee on a bond. Where is the hurry and where is the need for me to be arrested?" So somewhere I think the a former prime minister of Pakistan is playing his cards well. Maybe, and this is conspiracy theory. I may be wrong. I may be totally off the grid. That possibly he has a nod from the US as well. Possibly, because in all this, US may be looking at a Pakistan for a leader who has a mass following and who can keep Pakistan in some form of steady ship. The current leadership, Sawad, etc., I don't think they enjoy that kind of popularity. If the army comes in, it will be more of an authoritarian regime, which for US it's not a new thing. They have been used to a authoritarian government in Pakistan. But it would be better if there is a political personality which is the face of Pakistan. So this is I won't say that this is probably the intentions of the US, but it could be an outside chance, an outside possibility, and hence, former Prime Minister Imran Khan appears to be much more confident of his steps and of his action, which he's taking in the last few days. And somewhere or the other, they are helping him gain more popularity. That's the way I look at it. He's cementing his position more and more in the Pakistani politics.
They meaning, sir?
I'm talking of the establishment and the military. See, there is a what is the establishment? Military plus intelligence, and the proxy government, which is Shehbaz Sharif. So there are these two big now political divide which has taken place in Pakistan, with the public support being more with the Imran Khan group than with the. You see, while this was happening, there have been violent protests in Gilgit, violent protests in Sindh, violent protests in KPK, Peshawar, Quetta,
Karachi.
Karachi. I said Sindh, Karachi. So what is this indicating? This is indicating that probably in the West, uh, his so-called people who are maybe behind some kind of a public support, which I am referring to the Taliban, Pakistan, etc., may have also helped him in generating at least the protests in the West. Gilgit, as such, has been quite annoyed and unhappy with the current establishment because of the problems, economic problems which they are facing. They have been neglected. I didn't see any reports about POK being seeing any public protest, but Karachi, yes, Peshawar, yes, Quetta, yes, and Peshawar, Quetta, and Lahore. These are two strongholds of Imran Khan, PTI, his party. So this was probably expected. The current establishment, the current ruling formation is playing into the hands of Imran Khan. That's the way I look at it.
My question would be, sir, actually just taking forward the establishment part, is the factor that what I mean, see, uh, the Pakistani establishment is not stupid, and that's something which is understood. Why would they take an action like this where they are actually increasing his popularity by making him, you know, somebody that the public wants? You're basically propagating a narrative which he's actually setting. ये जर्नैल सारे खराब हैं.
Uh, if you look at his statements as of now, he has been less harsh on the military establishment. He has been more after the Shehbaz Sharif and his formations while making statements. He has toned down his opposition to the US as well. He is probably fighting the narrative at the political level. The army, in my view, is prodding as a proxy Shehbaz Sharif so that it does not dirty its own hand if something wrong goes. Suppose the army comes in and in one of those moments of public protest or something like that, an untoward incident takes place where Imran Khan gets knocked off, or there is uh, some kind of a untoward incident which takes place in which Imran Khan is involved. The army will earn a very bad name. I'm talking the Pakistan army. Maybe Pakistan army wants to exhaust all the political options before it wants to take uh, any action to take over or to steady the ship of Pakistan. Asif Munir seems to be waiting in the wings by pulling the strings of the puppet which he has installed in, which the establishment and the army have installed in the Islamabad. That could be the reason what explains why the Pakistani army is not so actively trying to push for personally. I mean, by using their own, they have a brigade in Rawalpindi, so they can do whatever they want to do if they wish to. It's not very difficult, but they are not doing it keeping in mind the international. pressures which are there, keeping in mind what the US is trying to do and what the Chinese are trying to do. You see, US is also in a very tight situation. I have uh, certain uh, papers where I read that what is the current policy of US as far as Pakistan is concerned. This policy, as per them, is at three levels. Biden has decided that he will remain disconnected with Pakistan.
Hmm.
Okay, he will remain disconnected. That means he is not going to uh, entertain any leader of Pakistan, whether it is army leader, whether it is a political leader. So that is why he has not even spoken once, either to Imran Khan or to Shehbaz Sharif or to any other person who has gone as interlocutor. But his establishment is actively helping Pakistan to remain afloat. Okay, why it is doing so? It wants to contain the influence of China in Pakistan, and by corollary, the way Afghanistan and is going on, and the way Iran is now behaving, Russia has automatically gone closer to Iran. The Central Asian countries are by and large aligned to Russia, with China also having an influence in Pakistan. You see, there is a ring around Afghanistan, Pakistan of a pro Russia China alignment. Now, in this kind of a situation, US has to depend on having a toehold in this region, and the only country which can provide them this toehold is Pakistan, because going into Afghanistan may be difficult at this stage immediately after they have left, and the kind of support which they expect from Afghanistan may not be forthcoming. So Afghanistan has to be watched from a overwatched from a third country, and Pakistan seems to be the best. They can't go to Iran. They have limited influence as far as Central Asian countries are concerned. So that leaves Pakistan. So the second level of their diplomacy, their policy as far as Pakistan is concerned, that Biden at the first level is absolutely disconnected. He does not want to be seen as supporting Pakistan. In fact, Biden has made a statement, what I think is maybe one of the most dangerous nations in the world, Pakistan. Nuclear weapons without any cohesion. This is the statement of Biden. But Imran Khan, on the other hand, had started becoming anti-US. When his ouster was being orchestrated, he in fact blamed US that they are behind his ouster. US came out very strongly and gave statements against such a view which was being propagated by Imran Khan, and that created some kind of a bad blood. What I am given to understand is that Imran Khan has now toned down this kind of a narrative which he was trying to build. At the administrative level, America has already given 200 million in food assistance to Pakistan as a result of the floods. So what the US is trying to do is, keep Pakistan afloat, but at the same time, do not give it the leverage that it assumes that the relationship is security oriented. The relationship is more humanitarian with security thrown in between, but not only security related, which was the earlier relationship format. Okay, so in all, to me, it appears that a lack of engagement from the White House, robust, well defined engagement from the State Department, and continuation of long standing military and defense ties. This seems to be the approach of US. One, uh, uh, Lack of engagement from White House. So White House says, I'm not going to deal with it. State Department says, have a robust, well-defined engagement. And Pentagon says, we will continue with our long-standing military and defense ties. Can you see somewhere the China angle in this? Can you see somewhere in this the Russian angle? And can you see in this the Indian angle? With the president remaining aloof, India has been in some form or the other assured that we are only helping Pakistan purely as a survival uh, case and not engaging in strategic ties with it like they are doing with India as a strategic partner. Because our president has shown a shown his back to Pakistan's all the efforts till now. So this seems to be the U.S. policy in Pakistan. On the in the back of all this, in the background, what the CIA is doing or what, because they are known for regime changes. We were also aware that Victoria had visited India. Nuland had visited India about 2 3 weeks back, and we were discussing that something big might happen. Maybe this was the something big which was expected to happen, but it didn't turn out the way it had to turn out, and possibly now the Americans will have to think maybe Iran is probably a better bet.
But the story is not over. So you got his arrest basically coming up, what, in the next 2 days?
19th till 19th they have given him lease of life,
Whatever.
but
We,
but the way he came out immediately after the troops were withdrawn or the Rangers were withdrawn, uh, to me looks that possibly he is uh, getting that sense that he will be able to hold on to his position, and the opposition, sorry, the government forces will have to abide by the fact that they cannot tamper with Imran Khan at this stage. Imran Khan has become possibly too big to get assassinated. He can be assassinated. He can be assassinated, but it seems like, given the overall information awareness, information warfare which has gone on across the world, such a step may not be forthcoming. But as you say, you never know with the establishment and the Pakistani polity and the kind of terror groups which are moving around in Pakistan, which are not even in control of the Pakistani government. I have I've read somewhere. I think Christine Fair had said that after a while, even Jaish-e-Mohammed went out of its control. Jaish-e-Mohammed was very. I think this happened around 2013-14, and Jaish-e-Mohammed split into two. It was an India specific group, and they wanted to fight and support the Afghan Taliban. So Jaish Mohammed split into two, and the ISI could not influence them not to go to the Taliban border or western border and remain focused. And that's why you must have found that from 14, after I think 15 or 16, these guys were lying low. It was only LET which was mounting operations, and they had also created some. Since LET got banned, so they had created renamed the whole group into some other format or some other names. They keep changing their names to get over the bans which the UN and the US and other countries lay on these terror groups. So after a while, even the ISI may have lost control over these terror groups. So anything can happen in Pakistan. It's a very, very unpredictable country as of now, with everyone on his own. How do you control terror groups which are so diverse in nature? BLA is totally on a different wicket. TTP is on a different wicket. You have the Kashmiri terror groups on a different wicket. In fact, I was watching a video of YouTube during the protest where females were coming in front of the rangers and saying, तुम औरतों और बच्चों से लड़ाई कर रहे हो, जाके कश्मीर में लड़ाई करो. What does this indicate? It indicates to me that somewhere Imran is becoming smarter by the day, and
In the
because of this media, everything is going out within seconds. If something happens, before you realize, it is out into the open. Despite the fact that internet has been closed around his house, but there are various means. Satellites are there. Vans are moving around with satellite phones and satellite dishes. They easily pick up these things and throw it out into the environment. If it goes to one foreign channel, then it goes to all over the world. And this was being carried by Hindustan Times for all. I mean, the Indian newspaper was carrying this video. I just happened to click it. How much is true, how much is fake, we don't know, because today digital world has become so unreliable that it's very difficult to identify if something is fake or something is real. It needs a lot of checks and cross checks to really confirm whether this is a fake video or deep fake video or a or a true video or correct video, right? So this, to my mind, is a situation which will linger on. I think it will simmer on till either one of the sides relents,
hmm,
and the Pakistan army is unlikely to come unless something major happens. Either Shehbaz Sharif, something happens to the government there, something happens at the national level which is so big that the Pakistan army is forced to then intervene, or something like assassination of Imran happens. Country may get into a total turmoil, and then maybe the army may have to step in and stabilize the situation. So there are a number of alternate scenarios we really can't predict. I have no way to crystal gaze as to what is going to happen. Normal, my rational sense says that this will peter down. This will peter down, and people will run into elections and wait for the outcome of the assembly elections before they again pick up cudgels for the general elections, which are going to happen after 15th of August.
the I don't understand. So this whole funda about this thing. They this country is wasting time on doing all this, and the amount of money that would have been spent yesterday would have been good enough to buy food for half a city in terms of the
Absolutely.
ammunition. There's that, yeah, everything. I mean,
I I I believe in that phrase, "Vinash kale vipareet buddhi." When your destruction is right in front of you, your mind also stops thinking correctly. It's a statement, "Vinash kale vipareet buddhi." Your mind starts thinking just the opposite. You start looking at quick solutions. You start looking at results which would be paying immediately, and in the bargain, you forget about the long-term implications and land up in even more shit. And that is what probably is happening. There's a cycle of action reactions which are taking place, and things are going beyond the control of the current government. That's See, they have an economic issue in front of them, and nothing has happened. IMF has still not released its trans. Even the aid which is being promised to them through the OIC countries and the Islamic Bank is, an extended loan over a period of time, and they are also waiting for IMF to start the process forward. The IMF is saying you give us in writing that the other people who have given you loan have rolled over their loan. China rolled over the loan for a very short period. Then they gave them some 700 million, which is hardly any money. And that too also, when they will give, how they will give, in what form they are giving, we are not very sure. Uh, Somehow, Pakistan probably feels, the polity of Pakistan feels, people of Pakistan feel, they're too strong a country to sink. And some miracle will happen and they will They will. I'm talking about the people there. People have an attitude that we are. I mean, nothing will happen to us. Nothing will happen. I mean, at least from the videos which are coming out, I'm making out that kind of a statement. And the political leadership is also not showing any urgency, except for one statement which came from Shehbaz Sharif of cutting the various costs and cutting expenditures, etc., which is peanuts actually. Yeah. Those are steps taken at by a bureaucrat only. Yeah. You don't have to announce. The PM doesn't have to announce such steps. A minister could have announced that we are undertaking austerity measures. What have they done to reduce the budget of the army? That will make a difference. What have they done to reduce the expenditure on raising additional security forces to manage, political problems? Rangers are meant to fight on the border. They are handling Imran Khan. Imran Khan is right, probably. He says, "Am I a terrorist that I am being handled by Rangers?" So, I think Vinash Kale Viprit Buddhi seems to be the, the reason why we are seeing what we are seeing in Pakistan. Where do they where if suppose similar thing had happened in 1990s India, where economically down and out, what did we do? We scurried around to get our economy in position. We had to keep our gold reserves as loan, etc. We got some money. We steadied our ship. I was a major. I was to do course in England. My course was cut down. Such like measures, but it was not announced all over the world that foreign commitments will be reduced to 50. Automatically, these things are being done automatically by the government machinery to ensure that we are able to sail out from the situation which we were in the 90s. I don't see that happening in Pakistan. I don't see any serious effort to reduce their expenditure, reduce their fiscal deficit, increase their production, get out of the flood damages, which have, of course, nature has been a little harsh on them, but they are making the situation even more harsher by the way they are approaching the problem.
The problem with I see is that not now, sir. I don't see the
Yeah.
problem right now. The problem will start only next year because you've not put in wheat this time.
Yeah, you may be right. Long term implication तो होगा ही होगा.
No, the
किसी भी
next
चीज
year the
का.
public pressure will be much higher. See, you've got money to pay back.
I
You've got
agree.
the IMF not coming in. Food is not there.
The That is what we are waiting for. I told you in my previous video also. The people came on the street for a political problem, right?
See, they don't come on the
Nobody
street.
came. Nobody came on. Today, Sri Lanka is coming out on the streets always for economic issues. When they start, like they have increased the taxation to generate money as per the IMF conditions. So the people are protesting there. It's a natural reaction. Somehow we don't see, other than Gilgit and to some extent in POK, we don't see such kind of reactions at all. There are two things why we don't see, possibly. A, either everybody has so much of black money out there that they don't mind if these things are happening, they are buying out their stuff to eat, etc. The poor are poor and they accept this as their fate and they say, हमारी किस्मत में तो यही है, चाहे कोई आ जाए हमको तो खाना उसी रेट में मिलेगा, उसी तरह से मिलेगा. So, or politicians themselves are not raising these issues. If Imran Khan had raised these issues of economy, I'm sure the same public would have been in much more larger numbers. He would have been able to propel the government to take those austerity measures. I mean, suppose you change the situation here, they are trying to attack Imran Khan. So he's trying to defend himself by using his supporters. Suppose he had started the other way around, saying that we need to put pressure on the government to ensure that the economy studies, and we undertake steps. uh, which are which are possibly to be taken to ensure that we are economically better off. I'm sure the public would have come out on the streets. But that somehow seems to be, there's so much of radicalization that people justify any kind of adversity in the name of in the name of uh, religion, or in the name of the belief that all this is necessary to ensure that Islam is propagated. So if we are suffering because of lack of food, etc., the God has willed, so we will suffer. I
I
mean,
have one final.
I am at loss many a times that what's happening to the people of Pakistan?
They are
Why
dead.
aren't they why aren't they coming out on the streets?
I mean, it's a dead country. That's the whole thing. I mean,
I don't know. I
the
mean,
factor is it's a dead
I don't
country. So
know.
nothing else. There is no yearn for improvement. That is what I look at with all failed. I mean, Pakistan is a failed state. I'm talking about a failed nation. That's what I see. That the people are literally dead inside. They just take it as their fate, and
See, there are multiple nations in Pakistan, and each of these nations have their own dynamics and have their own problems. You take Balochistan, they get active support from Iran. I mean, to some extent, their economy may be local economy. I'm talking of maybe linked with Iran.
it is.
Uh, People of Afghanistan are possibly Pashtuns are deeply linked with the Afghanis. So therefore, their trade keeps on going on. Barter trades, etc., exchange trade must be taking place. There are dollars being smuggled out from Pakistan into Afghanistan, and the vice versa. Afghanistan has maintained its position economically due to some very smart policies. The Afghanistan's finance minister is possibly much better managing the situation than the Pakistani guy, and they have gone about it in a very systematic manner. Barring the fact that they are following the Sharia, the women are oppressed there. There is freedom of uh, fundamental rights are curbed, especially for women, and even for people who are opposed to a Talibani ideology are suffering there. But overall, I think they managed to keep the security and the economic situation quite well. They are using Qatar for diplomacy. Look at the smart thing that they've done. They are looking at Qatar for diplomacy because they nobody has recognized them. So who will project their viewpoint in the United Nations? It is Qatar. So if Afghanistan has an issue, Qatar says that in the United Nations, whether it is humanitarian or whatever assistance required, etc. If it is financial problems, they are they have approached Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia, what they have done, they don't want to be seen as legitimizing the government of Afghanistan. So what they are doing is they are saying, okay, we don't want the fighters of Afghanistan coming back to Saudi Arabia or that part of the region and start creating problem for the king. But what they are doing is, therefore, what they are doing is that they are supporting the Afghanis. How are they supporting it? Releasing funds through OIC and Islamic Bank.
Hmm.
That's the that is the role which they have identified with Saudi Arabia, and they are successful. How about their management of administration, management of assets, management of infrastructure? UAE. Who's managing their airport? UAE.
Turkey and UAE. Hmm.
Yeah, Turkey and UAE. So they have very cleverly used all the people who are friendly, not openly, but at least underhand, who are looking at Islamic world leadership and rope them in. Turkey is looking for leadership in the Islamic world. Saudi Arabia is looking for leadership in the Islamic world. UAE is a kind of hand in glove with Saudi Arabia. So all these three, four countries they have tapped. Qatar is emerging as a big challenge to Saudi Arabia in the region. So they have tapped even Qatar. So you
Smart
getting my
mothers.
point. You getting my point. Afghanistan, to my mind, is playing its card much better than Pakistan. Pakistan is going running to Afghanistan to ensure that Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan is not supported by Afghan Taliban and their security situation remains quiet, which to my mind brings the next issue. Why are the terrorist group quiet as of now?
इमरान खान ने बोला उसको चुप होने के लिए.
Other than that, their work is being done by Imran Khan. No? The stabilization of Pakistani government is taking place. So whosoever is doing is a friend at that point in time. So they are keeping quiet. When the situation improves, they will again raise their hands. I think
They've announced a,
I think we've
they've
discussed.
announced a spring offensive.
Uh, uh, they have announced the
Spring offensive, sir. TTP has announced
yes.
a spring offensive.
Yeah, that's there. That will automatically come through. You see, moment the summer start, the terror action will increase, and this is a trend not from now. It has been a trend from years. The terror, I mean, basically, as the weather warms up, the freedom of movement and actions increases, and so therefore their activities also increase. It happens in Kashmir. It happens in whichever area which are infested with cold climate, right? So during the winter, there is a slightly lower activity level, and once the winters fade away, then you have the spring offensive, summer offensive, all this coming up. I think Adi, we have discussed this issue beyond a threadbare. In fact, you see, uh, if we have anyone on the show, and if they are giving some questions or comments, we could take on
Loads of
those.
them, sir. Let's get into it. I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
Loads and
so
loads of
because
them.
we have spoken enough, and I think we
Let's
need to
get
keep
into it,
it.
sir.
Yeah.
Naveen, thank you so much. General, sir, in the scenario where Imran Khan comes to power, how would India's engagement with the Taliban be impacted? Imran has followed a policy of appeasement. There were no TTP attacks while he was the PM.
Uh, my It's a very good question. One thing which we should realize is, as far as India is concerned, our position remains unchanged, irrespective of a government which comes into Pakistan. There is very cosmetic changes which take place. Imran Khan has been giving pro-India statements for his own personal engagements. For getting his personal popularity ahead. As far as India is concerned, we will have to deal with Taliban the way we are dealing with it now. India has done a very smart thing. We must realize this. There are six bordering countries of Afghanistan which got together under the overall leadership of Russia and China, which wanted that Afghanistan should have an inclusive government. They have met three times. Once Russia invited India also into this grouping. Once. That was last year. I think during the month of June. But after that, they have ignored India. So what did India do? India
Opened its
used
own
its
lines.
India used its own links and has now started interacting with Afghan Taliban, not from a short-term viewpoint, from a long-term viewpoint. India has invested about $3 billion in that country. It needs to at least ensure that it gets its interest going as far as Afghanistan is concerned. This is also one of the reasons this time round we are not that actively supporting the NRF, National Resistance Front of Afghanistan, where ex Vice Premier is heading that particular
Amarullah
movement, and
Sateh and Masood.
Masood's son. They are both heading this particular movement. They are restricted to the Panjshir area, and in Tajikistan only. Kazakhstan is not supporting. Uzbekistan is not supporting. Iran is not supporting. So
Nobody supporting him this time.
India is smartly trying to use the good offices of Iran and the other Central Asian countries to get some kind of say in Afghanistan. And let me tell you, when it comes to Durand Line, When it comes to Durand Line, no government in Afghanistan, whether it is a Taliban government or whether it is a Islamic Republic government earlier, they are all anti-Pakistan.
True, sir.
Must realize the biggest nation of the region are Pashtuns. 52% in Pakistan, 48% in Afghanistan, or 42 in Afghanistan and 58% in Pakistan. Now, when these two combine, they are deeply linked. They have relations. They marry each other. There is this homogeneity in that particular part of the region. So therefore, Afghanistan has its own contradiction, which the Indians are now trying to uh,
Figure out.
quietly, extract their say as far as Afghanistan is concerned. Let's look at it from the point of view that uh, we are now using the old approach which the Mauryans had or the Mughals had of buying our way out. I'm not in favor of putting our boots down there. We will buy our way out. That means, if need be, give them aid, but
We are
keep them
doing that.
out of.
We just sent them another shipment of wheat.
Yes, and give them aid, keep them out of the influence of Pakistan. That should be our policy, whether Imran comes or whether Shabad gets re-elected or whether there's an army government there. Divide and rule should be our policy.
I think it's the most stupid thing Pakistan has done. The Pakistan army has done. They had no need to do this to discredit him. Army has the power to manipulate elections. They could have quietly changed the outcome.
Oh yes, look, there are a lot of things which are perception. But let me put it this way: when Imran Khan won the elections, Imran Khan had created a countrywide popularity, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Imran Khan is doing the same thing again. Now, in this kind of a situation, if the army tries to rig the elections, it will be seen clearly as a rigged election. And the government which comes into power will not survive for long. And ultimately, army will have to again step in personally. That will break the current model of army of ruling by proxy. The army has found a good way of ruling by proxy, and they do not want to get a government which will not even last. They ultimately ensured that, I mean, they ultimately saw that Imran Khan spent almost 4 years in his government. More or less, his tenure was
Finished.
uh, taken care of.
He was one
Uh,
of the top enders in terms of that.
Absolutely, and it is because of this that the popularity has reversed. They were expecting to discredit and ensure that somebody else gets the same popularity level. Then rigging the elections would have been easier. And in an era of information war and digital warfare, I think it's becoming more and more difficult to rig elections.
Imran Khan's arrest is not happening because of the split in the army. It's the only other conclusion Pakistan. Uh, it's the only other conclusion is Pakistan army can't get Imran Khan because when they try to solve existing problems, so your view.
Uh, the army is split into two is a known fact. We have been talking about it. There is this Pashtun and Pashtun Baluch and Punjabi divide, but this has always been there. Only thing is, it has got more pronounced now. It has got more accentuated because of the Fayed Hamid incident and the Imran Khan's propping up of a section. Somehow, sometimes it happens that your moves becomes your problem. The guy who was created as their man. The Imran Khan was created as a person who is going to toe the line of the army, has become their problem.
When is it
Imran
not?
realized that Imran realized that if he has to survive, he must have some leverage in the army. So he started cultivating a group of officers in the army, which were which were not aligned to the existing establishment. I'm talking of Bajwa at that point in time. And Munir, since he's a protege of Bajwa, is in the same same camp, rather a little more hardliner than Bajwa. So in my view, he used this 4 years to create this additional leverage within the army, and army is now trying to keep its flock together. So therefore, it would not like to get further come into the public and display its split. But overall, I think the Punjabis are still in control of the Pakistani army, and therefore that is why army remains stable in the case of Pakistan. And we will not see a split as easily as people are assuming it to be. Armies are generally disciplined. They generally follow the hierarchy. That's the way they have been trained. They may have differences, but they will quietly lump it. Unless there is a huge movement like अफगानिस्तान में होता है कि पूरा का पूरा आर्मी ही बदल के दूसरी जगह चले जाता है, they surrender and cross over. That kind of a thing is not going to happen. They have been trained by the British, and that same kind of philosophy follows. So army has its own culture, and I think they will remain intact, barring few leverages which Imran Khan has created, which has kept the army a little on the toes. It's not had too much of an impact. It has kept the army a little on the toes. That's about all.
The more they go after Imran Khan, the stronger Imran Khan becomes.
Absolutely, absolutely. The more you attack a person, more he's seen as the victim. He's playing the victim card to the hilt. मैं मर जाऊंगा, ये मुझे मार देंगे, आप लोग रुकना मत, आप लोग इनको दिखा देना कि हमारी पार्टी जो है देश हित में काम या देश के लिए काम कर रही है, राष्ट्र देश के लिए काम कर रही है, और इन सबको हराना है आपने। मेरा रहना जरूरी नहीं है आपको इनको हराने के लिए। A statement like this straight away hits the public.
Mm.
क्या आदमी, the smarter guys will know that he's doing what he's doing, but bulk of the जनता is not smart enough. They look at him as a hero. So more you attack him, more popular he will become. I agree with you, John Doe.
Looks like Imran Khan is at the fork, either the Mujib route or the Bhutto route. The question is, which one will it be for Imran Khan?
See, today, Imran Khan, today or I think day before, mentioned that the Pakistan establishment is not able to handle its nation correctly. That's why we lost East Pakistan. He's made this statement. Somewhere he's trying to hint. He's going in the chess one step ahead of them by putting across the statement in his speech. I think yesterday or day before, I'm not very sure, but I read it, and he's told about it, that we are unable to manage our situation in internal security situation, political situation, not so well, and that is the reason why we lost East Pakistan. Indirectly, what he was saying is that you may lose KPK, and you getting my point? He's already hit them where it matters. What suggestion which you are giving, he has read it much before us, and he has he has planted this seed into the political hierarchy, into the public minds, and it's a good observation. In fact,
So,
that is why he has been released. Yeah.
two questions of the same nature. It would be interesting if Imran Khan is eliminated, and is it possible that MBS may have told the army to kill Imran Khan since he badmouthed MBS? Because the same was done to Khashoggi.
You see, we cannot say yes to all these conspiracies, all these linkages which we try to create. Truth is still uncovered. I would not like to hazard any of these linkages to what is happening to Imran Khan. Assassination in Pakistan is a very common phenomenon. Benazir Bhutto, earlier her father, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. There have been many people who get eliminated whom we don't know about in such incidents. and mostly they have this so-called private military contractors in the form of terror groups, and the terror groups can change names at the drop of a hat. Remember the attack on the police lines in Peshawar, in which initially Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan claimed that they had done it. Later on, they refused, and then there was some other group which came up called Tehrik-e-Taliban Al Zahar, which accepted the responsibilities. So
They were the
they
more
have
extreme ones.
the environment to do such things. They have the environment to do such things. The only rider which I am trying to bring here is that whether the motivation is coming from MBS, whether the motivation is coming from the army itself, that to eliminate this problem, whether the motivation is coming through international players like US, we are not very sure of it. We can only hazard guesses,
True, sir.
and I would not like to, hazard any guess where I I'm proved wrong. I could say that any of the possibilities is very much
Open.
existing in Pakistan. Pakistan has the environment to do such things.
Uh, you can love him, hate him. You can hate him, you can love him, but you can't simply ignore Imran Khan. Question is, will Imran Khan be the man Friday that will bring down the military era of Pakistan?
Oh, this is something which is a very good and thought-provoking question. Yes, and the advantage which I am giving to Imran Khan is basically based on two factors. I always rate people support as a very strong shield, a very strong shield. If the public comes out in support in the numbers in which they have come out, this man remains protected. It's not easy to eliminate. It was not easy to eliminate Mahatma Gandhi. It is not easy to eliminate these mass leaders. And he's fortunately for him is gathering that kind of a steam around him.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
has become, he has become the nucleus around which the public seems to be gravitating towards. They're flocking to him. This seem and it is not built over just 3 4 years. It's, I think, built over his overall personality, where people even ignore his pitfalls. His relationships with his wives, and so many other things which are there in the public domain. People try to discredit him. Despite all that, because of his fighting spirit, he always turned around a losing game for Pakistan as a cricketer. His personality overall is very charismatic. He speaks uh, quite authentically and quite confidently. Now, these
हाँ,
are things
मैं
which
बकवास
straight,
करता हूँ, but solidly बात करता है.
yeah, so these are things which straight away catch on or endear to common public. And if you are protected by common public, elimination becomes that much more difficult.
Correct, sir.
So he may be the man Friday who may just unravel the army. Who may just, because he, like I said, he has built some support constituency in the army.
हाँ, that is there, sir.
When it comes out, sometimes I wonder at the statement, जब मैं तुम्हें इस्लामाबाद बुलाऊंगा, आप लोग उस समय आइएगा. He's telling his supporters. It cannot be purely on public support. He may be having something up his sleeve there. जब मैं तुम्हें इस्लामाबाद बुलाऊंगा, आप लोग इस्लामाबाद आइएगा.
बड़ा
हम इस
sir.
गवर्नमेंट को
It's a clarion call, sir.
absolutely. So there is something which is brewing up in his mind, which may be what our audience is also reflecting on. I tend to I think agree to him that he may be the unraveler of Pakistani army. Of course, it's a very big statement, and I would not put everything into that. But possibilities you can't rule out.
Possibility is there, sir. Hmm. Tejas, nice to have you back here after a while. Even if the West boys Pakistan, it doesn't seem to be letting go of the Kashmir obsession or religious hate. Pakistan will exist as long as the West keeps it afloat. How long is the
The
question?
question. Yes, yeah. You see, in international relations, nobody gives away their leverages. Nobody. We helped Turkey with some intention to get it away from Pakistan. So we were the first ones to go into Turkey and help the people affected in the earthquake. We got good name from the people of Turkey. The government of Turkey also appreciated our effort. But what did Erdogan say after a while, after a few days? He brought up the Kashmir issue again. Do you think they're really interested in the Kashmir issue? I have my doubts. They rake up these issues to get that leadership. I've been always telling that the leadership of Islamic world is currently under competition. Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iran. Saudi Arabia and Iran have done a agreement for what? Things which you can't even think of are happening today. So there are games which are being played at the regional level. There are games which are being played within the country. There are games which are being played globally. So you have Qatar now raising its head. Qatar feels that they have the requisite abilities, capabilities, leadership to ensure that they are the rightful leaders of the Islamic world. Why do you think Iran is going hell for lather for nuclear weapons? It gives them that status. It will give them that status which will straight away counteract Pakistan.
That's
So,
true.
so these are things which we need to keep in mind. Uh, Kashmir issue will continue to be raised by the OIC, despite the fact that we have fairly good relations with Saudi Arabia, UAE, even Qatar, Kuwait. But when it comes to solidarity with the Islamic world, Kashmir will not be compromised. It will be raised, and possibly behind the back they will tell that it was needed for us, so we have told it. So why should Turkey remain behind? So Turkey also says that.
uh, on one hand, we're talking about turmoil in Pakistan. On the other hand, they have the money and energy to and food and water to conduct PSL, which is a shoddy copy of IPL in any way. So priorities.
See, that is what I'm trying to say. Vipreet Kale, sorry,
Vinash Kale
Vinash
Viprit
Kale,
Buddhi.
Vinash Kale, Vipreet Buddhi. If you remember about 3 weeks back, Asif Munir went ahead with procurement of military equipment and hardware, despite the fact that his foreign exchange was around 3 billion, which will not even last it for 3 weeks. Somehow, I fail to understand this country. What are they doing? What are they trying to do? Is their informal economy so strong that it is able to sustain?
Forty
That is
percent.
where
Some
I,
people say.
yeah, that is
The
where I
Dawn
think,
reports at 40%.
yeah, so that is where I think that the problem is getting, somehow diluted. We are only looking at the formal economy. You know what is the Indian uh, actual economy? 15.6 trillion. And as per authenticated data, not by us, by the so-called monetary organizations of the world, 3 trillion, 15.6 trillion. कितना हो गया गैप?
वो तो सर अब क्या है ना इंडिया का अगर 15 पहुंच भी जाएंगे तो फिर भी 12 दिखाएंगे वो.
So what I'm trying to say is that our part of the world has a lot of informal economy. I see nowadays in India the digital usage of digital currency usage has jumped manifold.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But when I today only I had visited a mall which is Lulu Mall, which is possibly the largest mall in the country today in Lucknow. And I found people coming out with stash of cash for purchasing, for paying the
Yeah,
bills.
it's the informal economy which is, yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
while chaps like us were using credit card and debit card, they were just picking out bundle of 500 rupee notes and paying 10,000, 20,000, 15,000 to as a bill purchase. So they are carrying so much of money for purchasing. Where is this? Why are they keeping cash? It means that they have
That's it.
surplus. It
That's
means
it.
they have
That's it.
surplus. They have the surplus. So if the rupees 250 doesn't matter here,
Mm.
I have the stashes available with me to buy things. So
That
the
is it.
informal economy, to my mind, is the answer why we are not able to pinpoint why they are not coming on the streets. That is not so true with Sri Lanka, and that is why they came up on the streets. And the drug money, you see, another thing which we need to be careful of is the drug money. Drug money is all informal,
Yeah.
and Afghanistan being on the border, how much is coming this side and how much is coming into India, and India paying back in cash. After all the guys who deal in drugs, they don't deal in
UPI, QR code,
right,
Google Pay, Phone Pay.
right. They deal in hawala. They deal in different formats.
That'll be the day a drug dealer standing on the side. Yeah, scan karte.
Scan kar do. Right. So I think the answer lies there. Let's be a little fair on the Pakistanis. They have a lot of informal money hold out with them.
So we take the last question, sir. It says Pashtun supporters are defending Imran Khan's residence in Zaman Park, Lahore. There is a Pashtun nationalist movement in PTI also.
See, that's a given. That's a given. That's a given. I always maintain that TDP is somehow has a soft corner for Imran Khan. Why do they win the election in KPK? But the surprising part is they won the election in Lahore also. So why do you think TDP says that henceforth our operations will be across Pakistan?
They spread.
Somewhere I think we should try to coincide these influences which are happening across the Pakistani nation or country. I won't call it as a nation as that. It's not. India is, you can say, about 70% on the road of being a nation state. We are also still a country and a state. We are a state basically, even today. We have our distinct regional nations which are existing within us. And I firmly believe in that. Reason being that overall symbols of nationalism are still, still far away to be taking roots. Why do we have regional uh, political leaders who cannot be displaced? Biju Patnaik, Naveen Patnaik, earlier his father Biju Patnaik, they are ruling Odisha. It's like Kalinga being ruled for ages. You take any place, you take Chennai. It's always been DMK, DMK. So we are moving towards a nation, but it's a long journey. It takes a lot of time, and possibly we are much better off than many countries who are on that journey. You see, wherever colonization has taken place, this kind of a problem has been there. Whether it is
Mm.
Africa, whether it is India, they have divided the nations so mercilessly that half the tribe is this side, half the tribe is that side, and same thing happened when we created the states also.
Yeah,
So
then the whole lot of correction needs to be done.
yeah. But the same logic goes if you take a step, if there is a counter movement against it. But it will
That,
happen. It's a very slow change.
that's true, sir.
It's
That's
a
true.
very slow change. It took 200 years for Western Arab countries to Islamicize Afghanistan. 200 years. So it's not an easy thing. It takes time.
The fastest was about 15 years. That's still quite a long time.
It took 40 years to radicalize Kashmir.
Yeah,
So it will take that much more time to de-radicalize it. And
absolutely.
we expect कि Article 370 हुआ, and now Kashmir is back on track, and it is no. It will take time. These things happen slowly. These things will run its course in a manner that things are naturally coming. It will not be seen by you. It will just happen. That after a while you'll realize, yeah, everything is becoming normal. It will not be a distinct change.
True, true, absolutely. That is true. It'll be like a
Yeah.
smooth,
See, cultures take hundreds of years to change.
hundreds of years. True.
It will take that much time.
Dipali ji, thank you so much for your super sticker. Sir, this has been a journey. बोलते हैं ना, it's like a ride through because
Yeah,
ठीक
I
है,
mean,
we could have analyzed why are they, उसने क्या किया, इसने गोली मारी, उसने वो करा, ये करा, वो करा, but that's not the point. The point is to actually dig in a little deeper to find out what, for the lack of a better word, what the hell exactly happened yesterday and what are the ramifications of it. And that's something
yeah.
that we've discussed in this show. Guys, thank you so much. This has been fantastic. You guys always come up with some brilliant questions. Especially the question about Global Office 2.0, who said that
Yes.
about
Unraveling of.
unraveling this thing. That has actually put me a lot of thought. Thank you so much, Tejas, for your lovely comments. Thank you, ma'am, for your lovely comments, Mr. Bali. Uh, Thank you so much, sir, for joining. And it's always a pleasure talking to you and learning from you because it's a
Thank you very
wild.
much. Here, I also enjoyed talking today, but we had not planned it. It just happened
We
so.
had not planned it. This is an impromptu thing. Actually, guys, we were planning to take a deeper dive into the Pakistan Afghanistan conundrum, and we'll come
Yes.
back to you probably in the next week with that particular thing, unless and until Imran Khan does get arrested. just, just kidding. But sir, thank you so much. It's always, as I said, a pleasure talking to you. And till next time, sir. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, Jai Hind.